Oh, this is a nice spot here. I've got the awning out and the tent up. I'll be cooking up some dinner here tonight. I brought a steak, and I'm actually going to try to cook something rather than do the Mountain House meals. As good as they are, I thought I'd do a little bit of camp cooking tonight. So, hang around for that. I am actually going to try to cook something. This is the third time out. We haven't really cooked anything in a pan on the stove. This is for in the morning. And here's my plate and silverware. Silverware, there we go. Fancy spork. That's it. It's gonna have to do. Got a nice steak here. Some mashed potatoes left over. Fry them up in the same pan. Should be good stuff. I'm not seeing any reason to wait whatsoever here. Already got it fired up. Pan is kind of clean. A little sesame oil. Just something I grabbed from the house. Didn't have any butter. I wasn't actually going to cook at all on this episode. I was simply going to have a Mountain House meal. Then I got to thinking, why shouldn't I try and cook? So, some oil, a little bit of seasoning. That's all I'm going to need. Should be good stuff. Man, I thought cooking was going to be hard. What's hard is getting the camera all set up so you got a decent angle. They got a good angle. We got a really nice ribeye or some kind of steak here from Costco. Good stuff. I'm just going to let that get good and hot. Now I'm not going to be able to sear it because I need it to cook inside and I don't want it to be overdone. So the best way to tell if the oil is hot is it should start smoking a little bit, or you can drop just a tiny bit of water in there, and if it pops back out at you, it's ready. Uh-oh. You got to kind of load it up here with seasoning, because you lose about a third of your seasoning when you do your cooking. So if you want it seasoned real well, you got to really season it good, and then you're going to lose some seasoning. Certainly smells good. Wow. So Donald, Jason, I don't know how you do it, and get in the camera. Yeah, it's going to take a while to cook this up. The butane's not real hot. Doesn't seem to burn real hot. So I'll be turning it 3 or 4 times. Try not to ruin it. And cooking it down to shoe leather. Still, that's going to be a nice steak. A little bit of sesame oil. Should be really good. Yeah, this butane stove doesn't really cook very hot. I don't know if you could sear a steak on this, even if you wanted to. Look at this monster steak. I usually split this with Monica, but I grabbed it out of the refrigerator and she has to eat leftovers now. But it's going to be delicious, I can tell. Then I'll scoop some of those mashed potatoes in there. Cook it up in that sesame oil with the seasonings from the steak. Should be really good and very simple. And who doesn't like steak? Unless you're a vegan, sorry. Well, I guess cooking it slow over low heat is, well, in my case, it's unavoidable because the putane's just not really getting hot. And it's cooking through, but when I cut it open, it looks like it might still be able to run away. Don't have any choice but to cook it till it's kind of done. It's still a little, that's still a little rare for me. Now that it's almost done, would be a good time to scoop some of these mashed potatoes that have some garlic and cream cheese in them and just start heating them up so that they'll be ready when the steak is. At least that's the idea. Give them a little all seasoning too, although I don't know why. It's going to be just fine like it is. If it works, don't fix it. That's what I always say. Now the burner's making funny noises. Canister's pretty cold. Isn't that the dangest thing? Butane doesn't work very well at higher altitudes or when it's cold. But as it discharges, it gets cold. And then it quits putting out the maximum BTUs, I guess. I gotta fix this. Okay, note to self and to you guys. When it starts making funny noises and quits heating, it's out of gas. There we go. Amazing how that works, huh? Okay, it's time to pull that steak and let it rest and finish cooking up those potatoes. I'm pretty sure I can eat that. Just got to get the potatoes hot now and all that nice beef juice, seasoning, and sesame oil. And that's going to be good. Okay, that looks good. And it's plenty warm enough. So, let's complete the meal here. And voila, voila, viola. I can eat that. All right, that looks good. Our beverage of choice here tonight is plain old, ordinary. Well, it's not just any water. This is Earth 2O. It is the best water on the planet. I drink it all the time, almost exclusively. Not much into soda pop. Got to be careful. This fork's been sitting in the pan and it's probably hot. Yeah, that's good. I'm eating good tonight. Wish I had little veggies though. I like vegetables with my meal, but Boy, it's seasoned just about right too. I cooked it to about medium. If I pulled it before I put the mashed potatoes in, it would probably be the perfect medium rare. Good stuff. Well, it's just like I figured. I usually split a steak like this with Monica, and it's not because I love her, it's because I can't eat all that steak. And because I love her, but you know what I mean. So I'm going to take the rest of that back to her, and it'll be like she was always here. Best way to clean these cast iron pans is boil some water in them for a few minutes. Scrape them with something. We'll see how that works. If I'd have brought paper, I wouldn't have any dishes to do. But I just had to try the porcelain covered plates. I do have a kind of fancy set of utensils here. Got for my birthday or Christmas or something last year. This ought to do the trick as far as scraping it up off the bottom. Yeah, that's actually working out pretty well. So, mischief managed, it would seem. Just wipe it out again, coat it with some of that sesame oil, and put it back in the box. Yes, it will probably be cleaner than when I started. Isn't that the way it is sometimes? That was easy cleanup. Okay, that did a nice job actually. Now to do the dishes, I think I'm just going to heat some water and pour it over the dirty dishes and wipe it dry with a clean cloth. Go through a lot of gas doing it this way, but still got to do the dishes. I discovered that if you take some of the water out of that, so it doesn't have to eat a gallon of water, it'll heat much faster. And if you put the windscreen around it, it really helps. That's not the coolest thing I want to show you here that I figured out all by myself. In the past, I've had my CPAP machine up inside the tent, right about there. Well, I put the Jackery over here in this corner. Well, that actually takes up some room at your feet, so you'll notice that the cord is running down in through the door. And now I have put my Jackery on the seat inside the car. Sorry, Jeep fans, inside the Jeep. And now it's out of the tent. The cord's plenty long enough. The battery will stay cooler, warmer, I should say, or well, maybe not much warmer, but I understand it'll last longer that way. So I'm learning new things all the time. And if you're curious at all about camping with a CPAP and the Jackery 500, I've got another video that you should check out on my channel. It's called CPAP versus Jackery. It's actually one of my more popular videos, but it should reassure you that you can actually come out here and do this and sleep with your CPAP. It takes about 10% of the Jackery each night, and so if you only use the Jackery for sleeping on your CPAP, you should be able to go 5 days, and that would still leave 10 or 15% reserve on your battery You never want to run it down much past 10%. So I hope that information is helpful to you. Here's another cool item. Wizzy wipes. I really like these. That's it there. That's the whole thing. Looks like a communion wafer, doesn't it? But watch this. Add some water to it. Warm water from the coffee pot. And voila. You have a nice, warm, fairly large wash rag to clean up your hands and your face with. Yeah, that's nice to be able to clean up your face and your hands. If it's got a little too much water in it, just wring it out some. Really cool. Looks like there's about 20 of them in this little thing here, and I got 2 packs of them. So Wizzy, W-Y-S-I. They work good.
Well, after that wonderful camp meal, I took advantage of what daylight I had left and broke out Tangerine here, the drone. I've been flying radio control aircraft now since I was a teenager, but every once in a while things go wrong and, well, you have a premature landing. I guess that's what we'll call it. Anyway, I had set up for one of the quick shots that the drones are so famous for. It flies a pattern all on its own and returns, comes right back to you. Unfortunately, I wasn't keeping an eye on it. I was fairly certain it would clear that tree, and I only missed it by about a foot. So this drone is in the very top of this tree, about, I don't know, 35, 40 feet off the ground. Anyway, I'm too old to climb trees anymore, but luckily, Damien, who was along on the trip, volunteered to shinny up there, and he's a young, wiry guy. So I discouraged it at first, but he insisted he could do it, no problemo. So I let him go on up. So thank you, Damien. Appreciate you going up there and getting my drone. So after a quick inspection, I just had him hold his hand out, and I took off right from the tree I just landed in. So yeah, that was a wonderful blessing that he would be there and be willing to climb up that tree to get my drone. So instead of the canned flying, I started doing some free flight stuff here. And things go pretty well when I do free flight because I'm usually keeping an eye on it. So it gave me an opportunity here in the coming dusk to give you guys a look around here at our beautiful campsite. This is along the Deschutes River. This is called Trout Creek Campground. And unfortunately, it's really kind of busy. It's like a halfway point down this river here if you're floating on a raft. And I've done this myself and Monica about 3.5 or 4 miles from the Warm Springs Junction there to here. And it's not a challenging raft trip, but it's a fun way to get along the river and stop and do some fishing along the way and then get back in and drift some more. A lot of other people come here and start drifting from here down further north towards the Columbia River. So it's really kind of a busy place. It's especially busy this weekend because, well, we plan a camp out every May for a father and son gathering, and fathers and sons get together and we set up camp, fellowship some, do some fishing, hiking, there's some shooting nearby, and it's just one of those annual things that you look forward to and that you do as much as you can and as often as you can, even though it's, of course, only once a year. This group of guys here is part of them. Damien, the guy that rescued the drone is among this group here. And this is the first time I've actually put this drone into active track and had it follow me. So we're just kind of goofing around. It's not very high up, but it is tracking me, and tracking me, I think, pretty well. Now, most of what you're seeing here, campers, is all people that I know and respect, but especially this guy here I'm approaching in the yellow. This is Lonnie Johnson. I hope he doesn't mind me using his name, but yeah, we go way back. He's a drone pilot also, and we volunteer our ham radio skills to the local Aries group, and so we work together in emergency services. And he's a flyer too. I thought I'd come over and show him my drone and show him some of the newer technology that's coming on the scene here with these new generation of drones. Now I'm heading back to camp, and I'm just kind of keeping an eye on things and making sure that it's still following me, and it does a good job of that. The new firmware that DJI has come up with has really good tracking software. And the guys I spoke with earlier are telling me, hey, you need to start running. You need to start running and see if it'll keep up. So I took off. Actually, I thought I was running, but I took off a little quicker for about 100 feet. You can see that it keeps up fairly well. And in this particular mode, it's supposed to stay on my 6, which it pretty much does. So I was real pleased with the results here. I've gotten back to camp, and I'm not quite done flying yet. These things are a lot of fun, and the results you get are amazing. It's just really amazing the kinds of shots that used to take a trip on a helicopter now are available to just about anyone. So we're flying downriver now. This is towards the north, and on the left is the Indian Territory, the Indian Reservation. It's called Warm Springs Indian Reservation. And we're on the U.S. side of this river here. And this is the boat launch here. Good fishing all along here. There's a guy out there, I think, fly fishing, it looks like. And unfortunately, it's a pretty busy weekend. But, you know, we don't mind. We're all good friends, and so here we are. Another view up the river here towards the south. The fishing is fairly good here. You're only allowed to take 2. They have to be over 14 inches, and you can't use barbed hooks or bait. So if you leave here with a couple of rainbow trout or a German brown, you're doing really good. So the trip out is always fun too. These are some scenes along the way. Nice little bridges, some old homesteads. And as you drive up out of Gateway, you enter an agricultural plateau that's in the shadow of volcanic mountains. That's Mount Jefferson, and to the south there is Sisters and Bachelor, although it was kind of an overcast day, so there's not much to see there. Still, a beautiful place we live here in Oregon.